Okay, it is now 5:01 and we should probably begin. So this informative session about European languages and cultures master's program will start with a small presentation by myself, Kruse, who is the program manager of this master's program, and Markus Reimann, who is one of our students. So I'm a lecturer at the Department of Spanish Language and Literature, and Markus is actually from the same department. We plan to give a brief overview of things that you can actually mostly find on the program homepage and on the homepage of the University of Tartu as well. And then we are very happy to have questions. For what I understand, participants cannot use their microphone or camera, but you can put your questions in the questions and answers section, and there's also a chat, so feel free to use that. So the European Languages and Cultures Master Program is actually like the umbrella program for 7 different specialities, which are classical philology, English language and literature, German language and literature, Russian and Slavic philology, Scandinavian languages, French and Spanish, which means that there are very many different subjects taught and very many different people involved, and most of the groups, except for the group of English, are usually very, very small, and students have a lot of freedom when choosing their study path. So you have several different modules, and Markus is going to refer to them later on when he presents his slides. But there are actually very few courses that are mandatory for all the master students, but rather you combine the courses that you find most interesting, and you also find possibilities for practical training which fit your career and research interests. And a very big part and important part of this program has always been international mobility. And when university statistics are discussed, then usually our program has very good results, because students of Spanish are very keen on going to Spain, and students of French are very keen on going to France, etc. So this international mobility is also an excellent opportunity to get some specific courses that might not be included in our program or are not taught at our university. But if you find a university in Europe or maybe even beyond that teaches something that interests you very much in the field of languages and cultures, then odds are that you can go and take those courses there. There is also the possibility to complete a double degree in the specialities of French and Russian. So you do a part of your courses in Tartu and a part of your courses in Lyon, and in the end they give you 2 diplomas, or a double diploma. So you have an Estonian and a French master's degree. The 2 broader fields that you choose between in the European Cultures and Languages program are divided into graduate schools. So one is the Linguistics and Translation graduate school. So this is the language direction. And there, the other is the humanities direction, which used to be called literature, but now the scope is broader. So you can see the elective courses that are included in these graduate schools. You can see that there are quite different. So these are the English courses. And in addition, for students who also speak Estonian, there are at least as many graduate school courses in Estonian. So fortunately or unfortunately, Estonian students do have much more choices than those who don't speak Estonian, even though it's an English program. And well, the program language is officially English, but it's the main study language of only English language and literature. So if you study French, for example, then your main language is French. And if you study Scandinavian languages, then it's either Danish, Swedish, or Norwegian. And in Slavic, it's Russian, etc. One of the most important questions always is what you can do with this degree afterwards. Well, one of the most important features is actually that you will have an international European master's degree, which enables you to apply to jobs that require a master's degree, mostly in humanities. So these positions usually require cultural competence and foreign language proficiency. So state institutions often employ our graduates, also universities, because many of our students continue in the doctoral studies. Some people go to work in museums, and there's a very well-established practical training with several museums in Tartu and in Estonia. They also work in publishing houses and in translation, obviously, and well, very different companies. And that is actually it from my part. I will now give word to Markus, who is going to talk a bit about how he ended up here and what he likes and doesn't like about this program.
Thank you very much. Just give me a second to share my slides with you. So, hello everyone. Like said before, my name is Marcus. I'm one of the students currently studying in this European Languages and Cultures MA program. And my specialty is in Spanish language and literature. And during this presentation, I'm gonna basically, give a brief overview and introduction into a student's life in this program and why I chose this and mostly why I like it here. So how did I end up studying European languages and cultures? Well, before I studied in this program, I was studying Spanish language and literature here in the University of Tartu during my bachelor's studies. And already then I felt that I wanted to further study the Spanish language and also continue with my research after BA. And I wanted to learn more about cultures so that in the future I could maybe find some work in international relations, do some cultural mediation, things like that. And for me, it really made sense because I was already familiar with the system. I knew all the professors. I knew how the workflow is at university. And compared to the bachelor degree, I felt that MA offered me more choices and flexibility. As Mari already mentioned, in BA, I felt that there was a stricter structure of the courses I had to take, and there were maybe more classes about topics that I wasn't that interested in. So, how does it work, and why I like it? Well, we have the speciality module, which all of you have. It doesn't matter if you're studying Spanish language and literature, or English language, or Scandinavian languages, we all have that, and that's the like kind of only mandatory part. For me, I think it was 39 credits. It might vary a bit, but I think in general it's the same for all of us. And everything else is basically up to you on your interests. You can, in my case, I picked some courses about linguistics because that's what I'm interested in. Some psycholinguistics, some discourse analysis, some courses about cultural studies like cultural semiotics, some about theology, things like that. Those of you who are foreigners who are just coming to Estonia and are maybe interested in the Estonian language, you have the option of studying Estonian language. For example, my old course mate, he was from the United States. He took, I think, 3 courses in total of Estonian language. I think it was 18 credits total. And if you're interested in Estonian history, I'm pretty sure we have courses about that, which are taught in English. So they're very approachable, very open for everyone. If you're interested in translation, you can do that, or maybe literature. You can pick whatever you want. And what I really kind of like is that all of this is designed so to help you with your thesis. It's completely fine if starting out in the first semester you don't have an idea, or maybe you just recently changed your topic or whatnot. It's completely fine. You don't have to worry about it. We have courses for that where you basically bounce ideas off of each other, get feedback from your course mates about a possible topic, discuss it with your professor, and pick your possible supervisor. And already for that, you will be given credits. I think for that first one, it's 3 credits. Then once you submit your preliminary uh, draft, some other things, you get more credits and so on, so on. So uh, once you come to the final semester, you won't have that realization that, oh no, the time is about to run out and I haven't done anything, because you're, I'd say, mildly forced to work on it constantly. And I think it's a very nice feature that we have. Also, we have the opportunity of doing our Erasmus study in some other university in Europe, which is always a great opportunity to practice a language. If you're, for example, like me, studying a Spanish language, or if you're studying German, for example, you can go to Germany. If you're studying Norwegian, you can go to Norway, things like that. And it's a really good opportunity to also to do your internship. Uh, I went to the University of Valencia in Spain, and I knew that I also had to do an internship, because that's one of the mandatory uh, things for this in this program. It's 6 credits. It's nothing too much. But the same was the case in the University of Valencia, that in their MA program, an internship was also mandatory, and it happened to be also 6 credits. So I basically took the opportunity to do it there. I got to do it in Spanish, which you can, of course, find an internship place in Estonia where you can practice Spanish, but they're not that common. So doing that in Spain was a great possibility. And of course, Erasmus is an experience where you can make new connections that can help you in your further academic career, in your professional career, or just friends that you can practice a language with in the future. And finally, a few words about Tartu and the University of Tartu and why why I'm still here, basically, why I haven't moved to another city yet. It's one of the top universities in Estonia. I'd say the campus is very modern compared to some other universities. Uh, our uh, our institute just got refurbished. Everything is new and shiny. There are computers everywhere. You can get a fresh cup of coffee, no worries, to help you study. And since Tartu is a relatively small city, then everything is really close by. So if you'll be living in the dorms, you're gonna be walking like 10 minutes tops to get to class. If maybe if you would need to go from downtown to the campus where they teach chemistry or physics or things like that, it's gonna take 10 minutes by bus, but still it's very close by. And I find this city really safe. None of my friends have ever had any problems. I haven't had any problems. And finally, it's the European Capital of Culture 2024. Uh, Even if it weren't, it's still a very cultural city. There are a lot of interesting museums that you can go to. There are a lot of great bars and cafes in the downtown area where you can pass the time. There are a lot of like sporting facilities. University of Tartu has their own sports center where you can do track and field. They have their gymnasium, everything. And even if though it's a small city, we have everything. Yeah, we have movie theaters, malls, and like I said, everything is close by and quite nice. So that's it from me. I think this has piqued your interest. We hope to maybe see some of you here next fall. And I think we're gonna start taking some questions if there are any.
So you could see that this presentations part was actually oriented towards people who are not from Tartu and who might want to get to this video afterwards because they're recorded and then accessible for a period of 3 weeks, I think, or 2 weeks. I see that the participants we have here, or attendees, are actually all Estonian and probably have specific questions. And that's a very good thing because most of this general information is also available on the university webpage. So please hit us with your questions. So nobody has questions. What more can we tell you?
I think we made it very clear how the system works.
Mm-hmm. And well, one of the things that I considered showing was the program on the study information system. And I actually, there's resources, like here in Zoom events, there's a place for resources where you can find both our presentations, the one that about Marcus's slides and my own. And there was also supposed to be a place for links, but for some reason, it didn't let me post the curriculum link. So I will now put it in the chat so you can access it. Well, it can look a bit confusing at first look because there are 7 different specialities, and then each of those has a bit different view. But altogether, I would say it's like fairly straightforward. Like this is the I have the Zoom toolbar in my way, so I can't really make out what's behind. See if I can move it a bit. In the chat.
I think you posted it to only for hosts and panelists before, so I resubmitted the link
Okay.
to everyone. I'm not sure if it was wrong or no, but now it should be.
Okay, thank you, Marcos. So I now opened it in English, and well, at the moment we can see this year's version, 2024. Next year there are going to be some minor changes, but the general idea, and actually the courses available are mostly going to be the same. So you can see that by default, you will first see the English language and literature courses, but here you can choose which is your speciality or which is the speciality that interests you. There's classical philology, Russian and Slavonic, German, Scandinavian, Spanish, and final French. And there's the study abroad module, which is actually empty, because this is where you can place courses that cannot substitute mandatory courses. Like if there is something that you do that is the same that we have, then you can substitute it. But if there's something that doesn't fit quite like 100%, then you can put it in the study abroad module. We have a question about the double degree. How is the research paper done? I'm not entirely sure if I don't think you have to do 2 papers. You do one, well, as far as I know, no French people have wanted to get this double degree. So obviously it's more attractive for Estonians and people from Tartu. And so they do most of their study here, and I think they do their final paper here in Tartu as well, or their supervisor is from Tartu. But I'm afraid that question is a bit specific, and I don't know all the answers. I do know that in French, they have successfully completed this course already on a few occasions, whereas in Slavic philology, the first person started this year to take it. So I'm not sure if it works exactly the same as in French, or it's a bit different. This probably didn't answer your question, and I'm really sorry. If the representative of the French department were here, or maybe the study affairs specialist, then they would have a more adequate answer. But I do think that they don't need to do 2 papers, because they don't actually get 2 diplomas like they do in some cases, but they get a double diploma. Okay, do we have any more questions that we can answer?
Have we talked about the deadlines for enrolling and things like that?
No, we have not, because the admissions are actually already open, but you can't. International students can already sign up, but the actual admissions period will start on February 1st. And then by February 15th, I think, is when the entrance exam will be available. So starting February 15th, you will have access to the exam questions. So it's usually to read a text on a language or literature topic. And then there are some questions that require you to refer to this text and present your own opinion as well in the language of the program that you are applying to. And then March 15th is the last day to hand in your exam paper and also your motivational letter. So the motivational letter is written in English and it's common for all the specialties. And then the texts are in the language of the specialty you choose. And the exam paper is also written in the language of the program that you choose. So for the Scandinavian languages, for example, the text will be in one of the 3 Scandinavian languages, and your text will also be in that language. Or in German, the text would be in German, and you would also write in German. And then once the motivation letters and the essays are graded, you will be invited to an interview in the beginning of April, if I'm not mistaken. And the interview will also be in the language of your program. So for the classical languages, that will be Estonian. And in that interview, we expect you to talk a bit about why you would like to either start studying in the University of Tartu or stay here. And if you have any specific interests, what are your topics of interest, your main fields of study, you might even say. So coming from the BA program, you might not be entirely sure yet, and that's also fine. Just we want to see some interest in language and culture and in pursuing an academic career. Yes. Any questions about that? So maybe a topic that should be mentioned are the scholarships. So Estonian students and also students from the European Union do not need to pay a tuition fee. For students coming from outside the European Union, there is a study fee, but there are also some tuition waiver scholarships available. There used to be more of them. Now there are only a few. So the competition for those is unfortunately quite harsh. But this also means that the people who actually get selected are really, really awesome. We have had some candidates from the United States. We have also had some candidates from Africa, for example. So they really enrich the study environment and are very interesting people to discuss things with. Like the first year that we had admissions to this program, to the Department of Spanish and Language and Literature, we had 2 Mexican applicants who actually did come to Tartu and finished the program here as well. And at first at the department, the professors, we were a bit hesitant as to what we would have to teach them, considering that Spanish was their own language, but it turned out really nicely because their cultural experience was very different and they didn't have a philological background. And they were quite happy with what they got from Tartu. So it's not just about learning foreign languages, but rather like getting a more broad view about issues of language and literature and culture. And there are really very many different options for those who care to explore and go deeper into specific topics. I'm still sharing my screen on the study information system. So this is the view that you get when you're not logged in. Once you're logged into the system, then I think at some point it might change to it, but this is all this information is accessible also to people who do not have University of Tartu username and password to enter the study information system. Well, here you can see that there are quite a few people mentioned here. The academic affairs specialist who is in charge of the European Languages and Cultures program is Age Allas, who is highly praised by students and colleagues alike and is amazingly efficient and knowledgeable. So if you have any like administrative questions, then Age will probably have the answer. And I'm quite sure that she will also be able to answer the question about the double degree and defending that final paper. So Age Allas. So all people in the University of Tartu have an email address that is firstname.lastname@UT, as in University of Tartu, ut.ee. So Age's email address is age.allas@ut.ee. I'm going to put this in the chat as well, just in case. Well, my address would be mari.kruse@ut.ee. And well, all students and all teachers and all the counseling team and everyone also has the same kind of email address. So if you know someone's name in the University of Tartu, you also know how to contact them. Okay, now I lost my way a bit. So this Russian and Slavonic philology program, for example, looks like this. So there's the specialty module. Like Marcos said, for Spanish, it was also 39 degrees credits, pardon me. So for this Slavic philology, for example, it's also 39. I think for most of them, it's the same. So these are the courses that all students are required to take in that specialty. Like Russian linguistics, history and typology, problems in poetics, contrastive grammar, Russian culture on the screen, semantics and pragmatics, more grammar. So this is what you would need to take from here. And then there's the graduate school module that I also had in my slides. There's the linguistics and translation studies, graduate school, which is one of the options. And there is the humanities graduate school, which is the other option. And you can see that first you have the courses that are in Estonian, and then you have the courses that are in English. So the Estonian students can choose between all of these, and those who don't speak Estonian unfortunately have about 50% less choices, at least in these modules. Since the University of Tartu is the national university and mostly exists to safeguard the Estonian language and culture, so we do obviously have a lot more courses in Estonian than we do in English. But the amount of English courses is also continually increasing, and we do try to provide you with more options and think up or develop new courses that would increase the choices that international students have as well. Then there is the elective module, which does have a few courses listed here, but actually the elective module is very open. Most people fill it with courses that are not listed here. So if you find something that interests you or you need for writing your MA thesis, and it's not in your specialty module or the graduate school module, then this electives module is probably the place that you can transfer it to. So it's not like you need to take Estonian for beginners, but you can choose something that helps you more when working on your thesis. And there are also optional courses. So if the things that you want to take, like you want to learn Japanese, for example, or you want to take Latvian film, then this is where you might put it. Then there's the practical training module, which is entirely open. So each department has a practical training coordinator. For example, I am the practical training coordinator for the Spanish department. And we try to find each student a practical training opportunity that would be both interesting and useful and help them in their future career or help them grow as a person. So most students do just fine finding their own training opportunities. Like Marcus's example was a really excellent one, like doing it in Spain, because I think it was a very good, very useful opportunity, much more enriching than anything you might have found here, because you have already worked here and you have like different experiences. So I think it was a very good example. And there, you can see the different courses or the different codes that you can use for the training, but actually the content of these courses is agreed with the supervisor and with the employer and the student. And then finally, which is actually not finally, but alongside everything else, there is the MA thesis module. And you can see that this module actually contains quite a few different courses, which also suggests, as Marcus mentioned, that you start thinking about this and working on your idea already on the very first semester. Those of you, or those of our students who already have a research topic when they start the masters have a bit of a head start, but this brainstorming and sharing ideas that happens from the very first semester is very helpful. And all these different modalities of supporting students during the writing process are here to ensure that you start thinking about writing this text from the beginning, because it takes time. Ideas take time to mature, and it also takes time to put them in writing. And it's especially nice if you have time to let the things settle, like go back to what you have written in a few weeks or maybe even a few months, because you will certainly look at it differently than you did when you first wrote it. There's also the possibility of doing project instead of paper in the end of the master's program. So things that people have done are translations of books, for example, or some projects at museums or exhibitions. So the project always has some creative aspect. So you would have to create something and then reflect upon the process of coming to this creative product, and also give an overview of what it is that you did, how, and what you learned from it. Yes. Maybe you have questions now. Lots of new information. Maybe lots of information that you already knew. But Marcus, do you have any words of wisdom you'd like to share?
I think that about covers it. I wanted to talk about the project also, but I forgot about it. So it's really good that you mentioned it also.
I forgot it as well, but I saw it in the program. But
basically, if you don't want to write an academic paper, you can do something more practical, not write so many pages.
But you still have to write.
Yeah, you still have to write, but it won't be that much. It's a bit smaller.
Yeah. But if you have no more questions, and if you have no more comments, then maybe we would wrap it up for today and say that if you come up with any questions in the future, feel free to contact us. I will also put my own email address here just in case, because I don't think I put it in the slides. You have the contacts of our academic affairs specialist or the coordinator of this program, and you have the link to the study information system where you have the details on the contents of the program. And we hope that this has been informative, and we'll get to see you in Tartu. Take care, be well, bye. Thank you, Marcus.